All right, hello everyone. Welcome to this live. This is Jared Dempsey from Effortless Qigong, and today we're gonna do a little short breathing exercises. So I'm actually going for. I'm actually just about to go to a social event, and what I wanted to do was show you some breathing exercises that you can do to release stress and improve energy. Sometimes when we're heading to social events, what can happen is we get into our own mind a little bit and we can be a bit anxious, a bit hard on ourselves. So this breathing exercise is going to help us to unwind and relax. And then at the end, what we're going to do is we're going to set some intention, because that can be really useful to do as well. Because sometimes what's happening is we're kind of like out of alignment, we're a little bit stressed and tense, and then we project into the future negative situation. So what we're going to do here is we're going to release some of that with some breathing and set some positive intention. All right, so here we go. Let's inhale through the mouth and exhale through the nose. Sorry, inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Inhale and exhale. Just remember to plug in. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Now you can just tune into your face, neck, and shoulders. So let's relax. Top of our head, forehead. Soften around the eyes. Soften the sides of the face, neck, shoulders. And just with each inhale, exhale, let go of any stress or tension you're holding in your body. As you're tuning in, feel like you can scan through your face again, noticing any tight or tense areas. And you can feel into your neck and shoulders and soften there. Soften the elbows, the hands and fingers. We're just going to breathe here for a few more moments, feeling into the body and letting go of stress and tension. And something that can be a good affirmation to do is the word release and let go, just letting go of stress and tension you're holding on to. So inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, release, release. Now let's do some breathing with movement. So hands low, palm face up in front of the chest. We're going to inhale, hands float up. Hands turn to face the sky. And exhale, hands float down. This is a great movement for teaching the body to move with relaxation, deeper calm. Good for the lungs. And exhale slowly down. And as the hands come up, you're breathing slowly, filling up the lungs. Hands get to above chest level and they turn to face up as you inhale. And then exhale, float down. Hands toward your lap. And then we'll do it again. So inhale up. Hands turn to face the sky. And exhale, slowly come down. If you're following along, just try it out. So your hands are low, your palms are face up toward the sky. As you inhale, they come up. You get to about chest level. Hands turn, palms are out. Come up. And exhale, slowly come down. And we'll do it a couple more times here. Inhale. And exhale down. Then you can actually relax your hands on your leg, your palms face up. And we'll do a couple breaths here. So this will be called abdominal breathing. So what you do is as you inhale, your belly expands, and so does your pelvic floor. As you inhale, pull in the belly gently, and then just gently pull in your pelvic floor, base of your body, I guess. And then inhale. And exhale. And one more time, inhale through your nose, filling up your belly. And then let it go. I'm just going to take a few moments just to talk here. So continue breathing if you want, or you can open your eyes and relax. Returning to a breath can be a great strategy for dealing with stress and tension throughout our day. So something that's really great to do as you're going throughout the day. Sometimes we think we need like a 20-minute break to let go of stress and tension. Actually, sometimes just a 1-minute break where we put down the phone, stop scrolling, stop distracting ourselves, and just close your eyes and breathe and say release. Feel it in through your body, relax your muscles, let go of the thoughts. Even just for 1-2 minutes can be really great for a reset and clearing stress and tension. And that's a technique I teach in the Mastering Your Energy program for my coaching clients. So now what we're going to do, that we've done some breathing and we've kind of tuned into our bodies, we're going to set some intention. Now this technique I'm doing here comes from high performance coach Brendon Burchard. He's a world leading high performance coach. And I'm combining here some Qigong breathing techniques. So now that we've done some breathing, and now that we've let go of some stress, we set some intention. So I'm about to go to a social event, right? And some intentions I'm going to ask myself is, how do I want to feel now going into the next part of my day? And I'm going to a social event, so I want to feel open, curious. I want to be playful. I want to be relaxed, social, and I want to be able to kind of get to know people. So I'm going to a philosophy night here on Saturday night in Montreal. Philosophy night's really cool. We talk about philosophy and then have there's a karaoke event afterward, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I want to be open. I don't want to care about people's judgments. I just want to have fun, get to know people, and bring energy into the space. So next question would be, how do I want others to feel? Well, I want others to feel good, safe, have fun. I want them to feel like they're interesting. And so those are 2 intentions I'm setting. And you guys have other intentions as well. Like, what do I want to do next? For me, it's I want to do a quick tidy up here in my space. That way when I come back home, my place is organized so I can just unwind after the social event and then move into the next day. So in this short live, I just went over basically breathing. We did the rest and intent technique from high performance coach Brendon Burchard. And then we set some high quality intentions. One of the reasons I think sometimes we can be so locked into anxiety, stress throughout the day, we feel overwhelmed, is that we have not learned the skills of letting go, of unwinding, and our minds are constantly going. And sometimes it only takes 1 or 2 minutes to let go, create some space and openness. Oh, that feels good. And then set some high quality intentions. What I'm learning about high performers is that they are really good at letting go of what they don't need to be carrying around into the next part of their day. And they're really good at seeking clarity and setting intention. I remember working with one of my coaching clients, and she herself is pretty developed. She does a lot of techniques to master her energy, and she has to be able to do what she does at the level she does in her life. And she mentioned that she didn't, she felt like it took 20 minutes or an hour to recover when she was stressed and anxious throughout the day and doing all the things she had to do. And in this session, I was like, okay, let's take just a few minutes here and we'll go through a breathing session. And we did this 2-minute rest and intent technique from Brendon Burchard. I also got her to relax the muscles in her hands. And after 2 minutes, I was like, how do you feel? She's like, wow, I feel really, I actually feel a lot more relaxed, really relaxed. And so she was surprised. And I think that's something that we often do to ourselves, is we tell ourselves, if I'm gonna relax, I need a whole hour or a weekend. And that's true, we do need those longer breaks, but I think that learning how to take regular breaks throughout the day can help us really maximize our energy as we're going through. In the book, The Power of Full Engagement, which is a high-level book, fantastic to learn if you want to get into learning energy management, is that studies show that when people that take regular breaks throughout the day, just small breaks, intentional breaks, are able to get a lot more done, or make less mistakes, enjoy their work more, and are much more effective. And so these are techniques I teach in this Master Your Energy program. So I'm going to answer some questions here. What to do when we are positive? Something at give secure. There's a typo there, so I'm not 100% sure. What do we do when we are positive and give positive something? Give secure to other people, but those people respond with negative energy. Could we protect ourselves? If you could clarify a little bit more about what you are asking, and I can help you. A little bit of a typo there. I have a general idea. French, no worries. What do we do when we are positive? Secure with other people, but those. I think you're essentially saying, what do you do when you're feeling positive and you're interacting, but someone else is negative, and you want to know how to protect your positive energy around other people. So there's a few different ways to come at this. One is let's say, first of all, I want to say, if there's a situation where you're with someone and you're positive and they're negative and it pulls you down, that's when we really learn about that from direct experience. So those times when someone else is negative, or you get anxious, or they pull you out of a good mood, that's the learning ground, right? Those are gifts. Thank you for letting me learn about how to protect myself against your negative energy, okay? We can return to the breath. So if you notice yourself becoming more negative, if you can create some space from that person, return to your breath, do that break. do what we did just before, we set the positive intention, can be really great. Also doing a Qigong practice is what I teach here at Effortless Qigong. In the future, I'll be doing more routines where we learn how to build up that Wei Qi, that protective energy, so that our positive energy is just so strong that we are able to kind of keep other people's energy out. And then the next thing is, the more I think we go through life, we want to be reading books like, it's not off the top of my head, like learned like Adversity Quotient, these types of books, Adversity Quotient or Learned Optimism, because they give us, they show you ways of thinking where like, it's like, they give you cognitive frameworks, ways of thinking that allow you to like not give into that person's energy. So when you're really clear on what your intention is, on the energy you want to bring, that's really where we want to start from. And then doing these breathing exercises and relaxing can be really great as well. I have a feeling I lost that person, but that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, hopefully that answers some of your questions. So I would say breathing exercises, doing breath work, making sure that every time you deal with a negative person, that you use it as a learning experience. Also, the truth is, like, as social creatures, if you're going to be around negative people, it's not going to be comfortable. Like, if you're in a really good mood and someone's really negative, you have to ask yourself, if I don't need to be around this person, can I not be around them? Can I create space from them? And then the other thing you can do, as I'm kind of thinking out loud here, is the more we can see reality objectively, like if I can see this person, they're in a bad mood or whatever, and I can just see that they are in a bad mood, this is where they're coming from, this is their emotions, this is their response to the situation, I can observe that as what that is. And the more I work on tuning into my own emotions, my own understanding of reality, where if I can develop such a calmness of mind, a control over my own mind, that person's negativity doesn't need to affect me as much. It's always going to be probably a little bit uncomfortable. I remember working in an accounting office that was just so negative all the time. All right, so I have firsthand experience. What I did honestly was breathe. I did not partake in the negativity. I focused on what I had to do in those jobs. And even with all that, it's almost impossible if you're around a bunch of negative people to feel really good. But what I was able to do with Qigong and breathing was let go of the stress at the end of the day. I was able to come in fresh, and I think that's really important. I'm definitely not perfect in any of these regards, but developing mindfulness and learning how to breathe, how to stretch, understanding how your chi works, and then getting direct experience with other people is just so important. I think that's one thing that a lot of spirituality doesn't talk about. People in these meditation groups, I haven't heard that much, and maybe other people have these sources, but is learning to actually this reminds me of something. I was doing some contemplating a couple of weeks ago, and I had this insight about this idea of internal martial arts. Because I was thinking, what am I, as I'm growing, as I'm building Effortless Qigong, which could evolve into something else in the future, because I do think my aspirations go well beyond just Qigong practice, was this idea of internal martial arts. Because I think in the age of social media, I realized after working for a company in the tree planting industry where there was gossiping, toxicity, the boss was a bully, and he had spread all this basically disinformation about me, and that really hurt. I remember I had all this anger, And I was thinking like, okay, as I was reading books on anger and processing it and thinking about it from a high perspective of my own interactions, what could have I done better, what could have and trying to make sense of the situation, was internal martial arts. I think it's one of the most powerful skills for a human to learn. Because it's not the strength of muscle that moves humans or societies as much anymore. It's the strength of minds. Having sovereignty and control over your own mind. You know, being able to be so strong in the face of cultural pressures, toxic environments, difficult people, challenging situations. Being able to have an internal set of skills and understanding to not to fight, but to judo the challenging situations that we're dealing with in the world. And there's a lot as a human that we are going to be dealing with as we go through a life. And so, and I deal with things like, I'm far from this person who's constantly happy all the time, and I definitely have ups and downs and challenges. But I can tell you one thing, that where I am now at 29 compared to where I was when I was 20, I've come like light years, like so far. And I will continue to, as I evolve and as I mature. And I think as well as the Effortless Qigong community grows, I just think that that's going to offer so much room for growth as well, because the more people that come to this channel and interact, and the more people go through the programs and stuff. Like when I went through the Master Your Morning Routine Energy program, which I led earlier this year, I learned so much, right? Just from being a coach and hearing people's stories and being able to think about the things I've read and learned and all that stuff, and answering questions and building the modules and everything was really insightful. Hello from Cincinnati, Ohio. How you doing? Level Up Dojo. So, you know, and I was trying to think though, okay, so like in normal martial arts, we can kind of think about, okay, if you're in a fight with someone or you're doing judo, it's like your goal is to pin that other person to the ground. Or if you're doing boxing, you know, to get points or knock them out, or if it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you want to choke that person out. But if you're doing internal martial arts, which is martial arts applied to life, to daily living, to the office environment, to your career, like to your whatever you're doing, what are you doing? Are you fighting? And then I was thinking, well, that doesn't really make sense, because you're not, if your whole life is fighting, that's not really good. But then I thought about Aikido, which is a martial art. And Aikido is like the art of not fighting. And so I thought, well, that makes sense. So this internal martial arts that I'm talking about is like a form of Aikido, of internal Aikido. And what we're doing is we're essentially protecting our peace, okay? And I think that this, as someone who studied a lot of personal development, it's like I want to pursue my own values in life. I want to have a strong, healthy self-esteem. I want to think well of myself. I want to be happy, joyful, peaceful, and I want to build happy, healthy relationships. And I want to build systems like Effortless Qigong that promote peace, wellness, and health on Earth, basically. And what I've learned is that, and Jim Rohn said this really well in one of his audiobooks, anything of value in this world will be attacked. So if you really value peace, someone out there is going to try to break your peace, or something, right? The news, the media, a jerk at work, wild homeless people in the streets screaming. Like these things are things we all deal with, very uncomfortable. So anything of value will be attacked. And if you are going to pursue peace in your life, love, compassion, if you're going to become a wise, healthy person, that will be attacked. And so internal martial arts it's a deep field. I think it goes far deeper than any physical martial art can. because it requires philosophy, it requires psychology, it requires studying the mind-body connection, understanding how our breathing, our digestion, our food, how movement and posture and exercise and sleep, how all these things play into the role. And essentially what the internal martial artist is doing is he's refining himself from the inside. He's refining his psychology. He's refining the way he holds himself, the way he thinks, or she. They're refining all these internal aspects so that they can be really strong in the face of life's challenges. It's also a hidden martial art. So no one may even know that you're doing this. You might be a quiet, average person that no one thinks much of, but inside you have your own kingdom, right? Like, you might be incredibly joyful inside, but no one has to know, right? You could be a quiet person, or you could be an extroverted person, right? And I'd like to talk about more about this in the future, but I think that is a really excellent vision. Because the community, the people I want to attract into Effortless Qigong, into my programs, are those who are really interested in developing conscious living. Like, you know, how can we develop conscious relationships? Or how can we develop, if you want to start your own business, if you want to make art, or just protect yourself against, like, for example, maybe you have a lot of things from the past that haunt you. Or maybe you worry a lot about the future. I think an aspect of internal martial arts is, you know, if you're constantly being tortured by shame or guilt or disappointment or things from the past, that is something that you can actually work on and you can actually change. So someone who's practicing internal martial arts is going to say, hey, you know, I've got shame about something I did in the past. And the internal martial artist will say, okay, I think I can work with that. What are my skills? What moves am I going to do? Well, maybe I'm going to buy a book on shame and I'm going to read the leading experts on shame. Maybe I'm going to start a Qigong practice where I'm learning how to open up and move my body's energy, creating more balance. Maybe I'm going to improve my overall health in general. Maybe you're going to start doing journaling exercises, or positive affirmations, or working one-on-one with an actual shame specialist. There are people out there who specialize in shame, for example. And the internal martial artist as well is going to be spending so much time looking inside, asking questions like, what is anger? What is happiness? What is joy? What is disappointment? And what are all these emotions? Because we are not taught this in school, really. Like, I think a lot of us, we think we know what anger is, but it's not possible. I guarantee anyone that's watching right now doesn't actually know what anger is. I mean, you might know when you're angry, like, oh, that really pissed me off, or whatever. But what is anger? What is its purpose? You know, is it healthy or unhealthy anger? What are the beliefs I have about anger? What does the emotion of anger feel like? How do I let go of anger when it's stuck in me? I can think back, you know, to people I've known in my life who have held on to anger for years and decades, and that person clearly never thought of even reading a book about anger or seeking help in any way, right? And so they're stuck with this. So I think, yeah, this idea of internal martial arts is super important, and learning how to, essentially, I need to spend more time. I need to actually work on a video here where I explain this, because it's I've got the notes written down from my initial contemplation, but here in the live I can't organize my thoughts that well. But internal martial arts is going to be, I think, really part of a core of what Effortless Qigong is doing. Because in Qigong, what we're trying to do is have less stress and more energy in the practice of Qigong. So if you go and watch any of my routines, or if you sign up for Effortless Qigong Elevate, what we're doing is we're learning how to use our mind and our body and movements to clear stress and tension. And that is like a foundational aspect of, I think, developing an internal martial arts skill. However, it's also obvious to me that there's more to it than just meditating and breathing to create peace. We also have to learn mindfulness skills, learn how to observe our thoughts and our emotions without judging them, being open and curious to them. Like, if you're really feeling something or thinking something, have you ever thought of just taking some breaths and observing your thinking, observing your thoughts without getting caught up in them or judging them? Not always possible. Sometimes you're in an emotional storm and you're taken away by it, but that storm will pass, as it usually does, and then you can reflect on that. You can grow from it, and you can mature. I think that those who live the best lives are honestly those who are most wise, and wisdom is something developed through life and through the intention and desire to become wise. I also think that becoming mature is really important, and developing spiritual intelligence, emotional intelligence, adversity intelligence, and social intelligence. All these are really important aspects of developing wisdom. And all of these aspects of wisdom require direct experience and being willing to go out there in life, go to social events, going to work, going to things, like actually trying to do things in life, trying to create something, and I don't know, at least that's my thoughts right now. So for me, building Effortless Qigong has been a really maturing process, and I gotta be honest, Effortless Qigong as it is right now, the YouTube channel, I'm building a premium video library. I'm bootstrapping everything right now. So this year we went through the first beta program, which was a Master Your Morning Routine beta program. I think the next time I launch a course, it's going to be the Master Your Energy program, where it's an intro to Qigong, the 5 elements, and then we're also going to go deep into energy management principles, because I think Qigong is a great exercise where we are tuning in and learning about our energy, but then how we can maximize our energy throughout the day requires other kind of deeper skills in coaching and those sorts of things. So the goal is to do that, because look, I've worked in a bunch of offices in my life. I've seen the food some people eat. I've seen the way people use their mind, and I can tell you that being negative, gossiping, eating crappy food, all this stuff doesn't condone to a healthy and meaningful lifestyle. And I think there's probably a bunch of offices right now all around the world just full of these people that have never done a personal development course, have never self-reflected in their life, have never read a book on emotions or mindfulness or thinking or conflict resolution, and they're everywhere. They're in all these offices, and so no wonder people are stressed out. It's because the people you're around are like brain dead. They're like zombies, basically. Sure, they can do their job, but are they really good to be around? No, you can't, because most people aren't doing self-help. Most people aren't working on themselves, and there's no disrespect to these people. Look, they're wonderful people, I'm sure, in their own way. But as someone who's working with them, if they're not capable of self-reflection, it can make for a miserable work experience. So we want to raise the energy. Okay, we want to feel better, and we can only do that through setting the intention to do it. I think another thing, internal martial arts is learning how to protect your energy without shrinking back without hiding, because you know, your life is, you are worthy. Your life is a special gift that you have, and I think what I want to promote to my audience here is like, look, we have this life. Let's honor it with what we are. No matter how old you are, no matter what your past is, we're here now. We're looking forward, and we're gonna raise our energy. We're gonna have more joy in our life, a greater sense of balance, a greater sense of strength. We're gonna learn how to use our mind, our emotions, our breath, stretching, all these techniques that go back 3,000 years, modern techniques. We're gonna talk about all these things, and we're gonna grow as a community, or whatever. So thanks so much for tuning in. Every day I'm trying to do a live stream because I want to work on my public speaking skills. I want to work on presentation mastery without absorbing the other's bad energy. Exactly. Now I will be working on workshops in the future, but what I'll recommend right now is I'm a certified Holden Qigong teacher, and Lee Holden, L-E-E, Lee Holden, H-O-L-D-E-N. He has a workshop on protecting your energy. So if you go to holdenqigong.com, he actually has a workshop you can buy that shows you how to actually to improve your energetic field and protect your energy. I think that's great, and then I think there's a bunch of good books in the future. So thanks for bringing up that topic of protecting your energy. I think that will be a video that I work on and I actually put out on the channel. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you subscribe. What we're doing here on Effortless Qigong really is we're learning how to master our mind and our energy. I'm 29. I think I'm actually a pretty young Qigong teacher. And so part of what I want to do is I want to share my own journey, challenges, things I've gone through with you guys so you can see how I'm growing and doing it. And that's part of leadership, is sharing my own journey. But also want to be sharing resources, techniques, and ideas. And so every single technique I've shown, every single routine I've posted so far, it's all really valuable if you want to dive in and try some of those Qigong routines. But also I have more talking videos and information videos in the future I want to put out. And then over the next 10 years, man, the best online courses in the world, they're coming out on these matters. So I launched my first one this winter. I learned a lot. This summer I'll be working away, so I won't be able to launch a course. But this fall, coming up to this fall, I'll be putting out in the newsletter. So if you haven't subscribed to the Effortless Qigong newsletter, you should go to the website and subscribe. Yeah, the Master Your Energy routine or something similar will be launched in the future. So here at Effortless Qigong, we're talking about inner exploration, mind-body fitness. Recently, I've discovered I want to be teaching internal martial arts because what we need to honor our lives. Anything good will be attacked in life. Anything that you value, all of your values, health, wellness, inner peace, love, connection, will be attacked in life. Now, I'm not trying to be like conspiracy theory here, but just think about it. Reflect on your life. Notice how often that's happened. Maybe you really like pineapple on pizza, and then someone says, pineapple on pizza, that's disgusting. I love pineapple on pizza. It's wonderful. All right, have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.